I think commodities, specifically precious metals, are going to be the #1 performing asset class over the next couple of years and even potentially decade, excluding crypto. And in this video, I want to explain to you exactly why. But first and foremost, what are we looking at? We're looking at a tweet that I just tweeted 17 minutes ago, and I've been talking about this for a few months now. If we look at from a fundamental perspective, before we dive into technicals and we actually look at historical data, right now we've got wars overseas. We've got China and Russia kind of teaming up against Ukraine. We've got also China going after Taiwan. The U.S. is back in Ukraine. There's a bunch of uncertainty. No one knows if they're going to start World War III. So massive uncertainty with the wars overseas. There's high inflation nearly everywhere, not just in the United States, but honestly way, way, way worse in other countries. It's just eroding people's belief in their currency and their purchasing power. And the belief part is even more important than actually what it does physically to the debasement of the currency, because once you lose belief, you lose the value of that currency. We've got economic uncertainty with high rates, low economic growth, and people just not certain. We got really high consumer debt. We've got still high consumer spending, which is not a good sign because we've still got high consumer debt, and we've also got wages that are kind of stagnant, if not even coming close to keeping up with inflation. And then again, we've got the disbelief in currencies. So a lot of fundamentals are really, really strong for gold and silver and precious metals. Okay, all these things are very bullish for commodities, specifically precious metals. And if we were to go ahead and look at charts right now, let's actually go back to a time when we had somewhat similar of a situation that we're in right now. We had high inflation and low economic growth. That was in the 70s. So in the 70s, we had kind of this sideways action in the stock market after a really big rally from after the Great Depression. And then we had really high inflation. We had higher than normal rates, and we had low economic growth, which is what we are experiencing right here, right now in 2023. And if you're looking at this chart right now, this is the stock market. This is the S&P 500 on a weekly chart right here. At the bottom, we've got the price of gold. Actually, it's not price. It's the percentage increase that it has from its low over here. So let's go ahead and look. If you look at what happens with precious metals, they kind of work almost inversely related to what the stock market does. So when the stock market has really big rallies, you tend to see precious metals not really do too much. But then when stock market comes down and it's kind of chopping sideways, you typically see precious metals go way up. So we're looking at stock market rally, right? And then what happens when we've got a lot of uncertainty, we've got higher rates, we've got high inflation? Well, we see gold just rip through the roof, went up 450%, and then went absolutely parabolic, 2,200% by 1980. Same thing happened with silver, guys. We saw silver start to take off in the early 70s, 73, 74, kind of went sideways, formed this kind of consolidation period, and then what happened? It absolutely ripped all the way up to almost 3,000%, 2,800% by 1980. Okay, now let's see what happened after that. Okay, now we're coming back down. Okay, now equities start to take off, right? You can see that the percentage growth very minuscule on gold, if not negative. We see equities do extremely well, go up 600%. 480%. Now they start to come a little bit back down into early 2000. Okay, this is the tech crash now. And what happens to precious metals? Well, they kind of think about it. They're like, I see the market's coming down. Now smart money starts to go into safer assets such as precious metals. And you see gold just rip up and once again do over 600%. All right, or 500%. And that was all the way into about the high was in 2011. All right. Now you start to see it come back down. Equities start to outperform. And now we're heading into a period of time where, well, what's happening right now? Gold is starting to gain some momentum to the upside. And if we look at silver, silver's honestly kind of the same exact thing as gold, but it just is even, further growth. It's almost like a smaller cap stock or smaller cap cryptocurrency. It just outperforms typically gold, but sometimes it'll sit there and kind of think about it. While gold is starting its rallies, silver will wait a little bit and then just, rip. And it's because it has primarily a smaller market cap. It's a little bit more volatile with a higher beta. And you see the same exact thing early 2000, stocks come down. right? Then precious metals start to think about it. They tend to bottom before equities do, and then it rips up right after the bottom in 2000, and silver goes absolutely nuts. It goes up, over 300%. Then once again in 2008, right, we had the '08 crash. Again, it bottoms before the stock market does, and then comes up and rips, another 437%, and then comes all the way back down, kind of goes sideways. And then again, now we're sitting at a place where silver is forming this consolidation period. It's actually a massive bull flag if we look at it on a chart. We'll look at it here in a second. But I want to show you a chart from someone else actually right now, which is a company, I believe his name is Patrick, is on Twitter, from a company called North Star Bad Charts. And what we're looking at the S&P 500 denominated in a commodity index, okay? So when the chart goes up, when the price action goes up, what is happening? That means that the S&P 500, aka the stock market, is gaining strength against commodities. And then when you see the price action going down, what does that mean? That means that then commodities are actually going higher in value than the S&P 500. So if we look once again, we kind of zoom out of what I just showed you on the charts, you can see when there was a big depression in the 30s, what happened? Silver went up 180%. It rallied when stocks came down, right? Then we saw a really big rally in the stock market. We saw a smaller recession, bigger recession, and then we see silver go up 3,500%. And then we see it into the next bull market on stocks. We see it come up. It has a smaller recession, bigger recession. So that was, that was 2000. Then into 2008, silver went up 1,050% during the '08 time period. And then once again, equities massively outperformed over the past about 13 years. We had just a smaller recession recently. All right. And people believe that, as the Fed pauses rates, we're going to see a rally again, and then we're going to see a massive sell-off, which I think is very likely to happen. And I think that commodities are once again going to do exactly what they have done previously, is when equities have this massive blow off top, they kind of go sideways, if not negative. And then all of a sudden, when equities start to correct, people get worried about currencies, high inflation, low economic growth, all those things. What happens? Then commodities rip higher. And you see this happen over and over and over again over the past almost 100 years. And I don't think that this time is much different. And that's why I think that commodities are very likely to outperform, especially when you compare to equities over the next couple of years, if not decade. And I'm going to show you, actually, let's jump into the charts real quick. So this is gold denominated in the US dollar. You can see from the early 2000s and the tech bubble, once the stock market actually sold off, you saw gold rip all the way up to highs in 2011, up to about almost $2,000. Then it kind of came down, equities rallied, and now we are forming a massive bull flag. Okay, when you see price rally, then you see a kind of a blow off top type scenario. You see it come down, form lower highs and lower lows, but not significantly. You see this kind of flag pattern, and now you see gold coming up to resistance once again, and equities have started their descent for over the past year. Same thing is now happening with silver, right? We saw the massive move again from 2001 all the way up to the highs in 2011. This is 11,058% type move. And then we see, once again, we see a nice, really strong rally. Now we're starting to see this flag pattern. And what is silver doing? It is breaking out of that flag pattern right now. And that is exactly why I think commodities, specifically precious metals, are likely to outperform, because again of all this macro that is going on, and then once again on the price action on a technical basis. And I will say this too, by the way, I am very bullish on crypto as well, but I'm also very, very aware that typically you see this time period where you see crypto kind of consolidate in this zone where it trades in this kind of sideways zone for about a year and a half after the top. And then you see a really, really big rally. So over the short term, I actually think that precious metals may kind of outperform, especially after there is a potential Fed pivot. So, Bitcoin and crypto might rip higher after they actually pause rates and drop them. And then shortly after, I think that almost all the markets come down. There's another really great opportunity to buy the dip. And I think during that period of time, even when crypto's kind of going, it could go up another 50, 100%, right? And then it comes back down. I think that commodities are going to be up and to the right during those time periods. So I may see another little dip, but I do think that commodities are likely to outperform almost everything over the next couple of years. And I do think that, crypto heading into 2025, there's nothing that is going to outperform crypto, because what crypto is honestly, it's a leveraged bet on the debasement of fiat currencies, which is pretty much the only thing that is guaranteed in this world nowadays. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your opinion below. If you think I'm an idiot, if you think I'm right, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you here on this next video.